Get faster internet speeds for free when you get TV, internet, and phone. Ask for Trio from Rev.
Rev, join the revolution.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Speaker of the House admits that he should have not allowed the Marathon MP to read Save the Bay's emails in Parliament. Details on that story straight ahead.
Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner seeks forgiveness. We'll tell you why.
Residents in the Chippingham area find one of their neighbors stabbed to death at a community park. Details straight ahead.
Cost concerns raised as the national health insurance debate continues in the House of Assembly. Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, amid tension between the judicial and legislative branches of government, House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major suggested today he made a mistake in allowing Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald to table controversial Save the Bay's emails. Major says MPs should not be allowed to just pick up private emails and read them in Parliament for the world to hear. Simone Davis reports.
Dr. Kendall Major said he should not have allowed Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald to table the private emails and financial details of Save the Bay's members in Parliament earlier this year. His comments come days after DNA leader Branville McCartney said Major is partly to blame for the tension between the judiciary and Parliament.
He's right to some degree, because ultimately the responsibility is always to the chair. But the chair is a very dynamic place. The House, there are a lot of things going on. Members say things. You follow a member to see where it's going, and sometimes at the end of the day, you see things. You recognize a little later that perhaps that may, under other circumstances, would not be allowed. So things happen.
Last week, Justice Indra Charles ruled that Fitzgerald breached the constitutional right to privacy of Save the Bay's members by disclosing their emails. Major said he looked back at the situation and decided that no member of Parliament would be allowed to read private emails in the House of Assembly for the world to hear.
In the future, any member that wants to table a document or speak to a document that is an email that, in essence, the member would need to reveal the source to me.
That being said, the House Speaker says MPs should be able to speak openly and frankly.
What happens in the House of Assembly when a member speaks, it is important, it is critical that a member has the freedom to investigate and to speak clearly, because he or she is representing a constituency which is a part of the people, and this is how our representative system works. And so if a court could tell the Parliament what not to say, then we can follow that. A court can try to tell a Parliament what to say. We can't have that.
The House Speaker says he believes there should always be a separation of powers between Parliament and the judiciary.
A court ought not cannot injunct a member in doing its work. The court's purpose is to deal with legislation that comes out of the House and determine if the legislation is good or it's not good. But to actually injunct the House to determine how it conducts its business, that's very ultra-virus.
Dr. Major said as a result of the incident, he plans to ensure that the House of Assembly continues to regulate itself. From the House of Assembly for our news, I'm Simone Davis. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Simone. Well, days after she called for forgiveness for her errors, Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner explained today exactly what she's hoping to find forgiveness for, as she addressed reporters after delivering an address to the Rotary Club of West Nassau. Dana Smith reports.
The Long Island MP said although she doesn't necessarily have any regrets, one of her errors may have been not seeing the race through to the end. Butler Turner and running mate F&M Senator Dr. Dwayne Sands dropped out of the F&M leadership race hours before voting was set to begin. Butler Turner also asked forgiveness for her errors. Our news team today asked her what errors she was referring to.
I think a lot of people were hoping that I would truly continue straight to the end. I think I need forgiveness for that.
When asked if she regrets her decision to quit just before the vote, the Long Island MP said.
I think if I get forgiveness for that, there'll never be regret.
Butler Turner came under criticism in the aftermath of her statement for showing what many felt was an abrupt change in her sentiments about Minnis. She suggested today she called for her supporters to back Minnis in a bid to assuage fears among some that she's dividing the F&M.
I think it's time now for the Bahamians to truly have the option that they've begged me to give them, and that is they asked me to make sure that I no longer divide the party. And so on that, I believe that we deserve no less than a strong democracy, and I believe that as we move forward, we in the F&M have to prove that we can in fact come together and offer that very real hope for the Bahamian people.
Asked if she believes Minnis has what it takes to defeat Prime Minister Perry Christie and his PLP government in the next general election, Butler Turner would only say the philosophies of the F&M are still closely aligned with hers, and she hopes that as the F&M moves forward, they will present a united front.
We're working, and that's what I need to do. I have to do some work. We all need to do some work. We're working. We're going to make sure that the Bahamian people are able to have the opportunity to exercise real democracy. The PLP is the worst government this country has ever seen. We need to rid ourselves of them.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Well, it's been more than 40 days since there was a murder on New Providence, but the lull came to an end this morning after a Pitt Road resident was found brutally stabbed on a local park. Our Jasmine Brown joins us in studio with more details.
Thanks, Christina. This latest incident ends a welcome break in murders here in the nation's capital after police responded to the scene on Christie Park this morning. According to head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernanda, the call came in just after 7 a.m. Fernanda says when officers arrived, they found the body of a man with multiple stab wounds, including a large gash to the head.
Residents was concerned and they contacted the police, and that's how we were able to respond and discover the body.
One of those residents was the victim's cousin, Mary Elliott. Elliott, who also lives in the area, identified the victim as 58-year-old Reginald Black Rat Johnson.
Well, I was sad because I was coming to catch the bus to come to work, and the gentleman on the road say, Mary say, you know, that's Black Rat on the park there. So I say, Black Rat? I said, no man, that can't be so. So when I run, I come, I see him on the ground. So I went home and I go on my chair and I tell him what happened. It's very sad.
Other family members also gathered on the park, including the victim's son and daughter, who were overcome with emotion. His daughter had to be held by family members as she watched her father's body being carried away. Elliott says the father of two was well known and well loved in the Chippenham area where he grew up.
Reggie was a very nice person. I mean, he don't bother nobody. He's hustle. He's go to the wash house. He's do any little thing for people. He's a very nice person.
With the investigation still in its early phase, police have not determined a motive. They're asking anyone with information to contact them. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Jasmine. And as you know, you can contact police at 919-911 or 328-TIPS. Well, Labor Minister Shane Gibson is calling on the management of the Sandhills Royal Bahamian Resort to give his ministry an explanation for its upcoming closure. Last week, it was revealed that the resort would close beginning Monday, August 15th to October 13th. But according to Gibson, his ministry has been reaching out to the resort for more information as it will affect hundreds of Bahamians. He says it appears his calls have fallen on deaf ears.
So we wanted to know if they were closing the resort, exactly how these employees will be impacted. We've not gotten a response yet, so we're patiently waiting. We don't know what their intentions are, whether they still intend to do it, or how they intend to do it, if they intend to do it. And so we're just waiting now after having written to them over, I guess, just about a week or so ago.
Gibson says there were initial meetings. However, he says the resort provided few answers. He says he also wants to know how the 40 employees on work permits would be affected.
They've taken a position. They said that they had some underground issues, that they had to rip up some area around the pool. They had a couple of rooms where they had sewer backup. They needed to do some extensive work on the sewage system, and so I don't want to speculate. That's what they told us. We're now only waiting on written on a written position as to if they intend to go ahead with this closure, temporary closure, and if they don't intend to go ahead with it, how the employees, those who are Bahamians and the expats, will be treated.
Still to come on our news, how much will national health insurance really cost Bahamians? Pastors call for greater protections for unborn children. We'll tell you why and what you need to know about registering for homeschooling in the Bahamas. That's coming up when our news returns.